Okay, this is a good question. It comes from Beth Wright. She says, what would you say helped you get over your hesitation about praying to Mary and praying the rosary?
That's a good question. I think definitely studying the theology was important because I had to realign my thoughts, which would ultimately impact my emotions. And to this day, there's sometimes stray emotions. I mean, much less to this day, but they're definitely for years after becoming Catholic. There were emotions that wouldn't, or a psychological experience of the rosary or of devotion to Mary that didn't always feel right. And that's because I was raised with zero of it. I had none of it growing up. And it was actually taught as sort of Mary was actually taught as just a girl. Mary's just a girl. It could have been you. It could have been this other girl. God picked a random, God closed his eyes. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And he picked this random girl and there she is and forget about it kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so anyways, so I think first step would be get your thoughts about Mary right. And maybe you have no thoughts about her. Maybe you have negative thoughts about her, because then we can inform our feelings. And for me, one book that was really helpful was The World's First Love by Fulton Sheen. Highly recommend. It's a beautiful book. Did I get that title right, Matt?
Yes, The World's First Love.
Love by Fulton Sheen. And then I did do the consecration to Mary through 33 Days Morning Glory. So initially not the Louis de Montfort, fancy version, but the more sort of accessible.
Yeah.
Michael Gately. So that's also helpful because we have to kind of we have to acclimate ourselves to things that are sometimes foreign and culture shocks. Just like physically, you need to go into a culture and experience it, be around the language, the smells, the tastes. I think with Mary, it's the culture of Mary. It's the culture of Mary as my mother, not just this idea, not just this character in a Bible story, but Mary as a mother of all Christians, as Jesus gave to John at the foot of the cross. He gave his mother to all of us. We have to acclimate ourselves to her. And sometimes we have a special grace. I mean, for some people, it's like, I'm in, like I'm all about Mary, and they don't need to like acclimate. Other people, it takes time because it's foreign to them.
I think it's also important.
Or one other thing, actually, also mother issues is another piece of this. So if you, depending on your relationship with Mary, with your own mother, biological or adopted or both, that will likely inform your relationship with Mary, your spiritual mother, the mother of God. And so if you have issues or wounds or things unresolved or bad habits in your relationship with your earthly mother, which all of us do to some degree because we're all imperfect, that can influence or color your relationship with your heavenly mother. So that's where, again, to really live our faith, it requires deep work. It requires all of us. And it requires taking stock of our childhoods. It requires understanding really what has wounded us in the past, what habits we have today that we don't even realize that we have. And that if we do that work and we, go down the path of really forgiving what has hurt us in the past, really reconciling what, is maybe unreconciled, that will help our relationship with God, with the angels and saints, and with the Blessed Mother.
Yeah, that's really excellent. I would also say that, just like people express their devotion to Jesus Christ in different ways, and some of those ways appeal to some people, but maybe other ways appeal to other people, it's okay if a particular act of devotion to the Blessed Mother doesn't necessarily appeal to you. Some people speak about our Blessed Mother in quite flowery language, like Louis de Montfort. That doesn't always appeal to everybody, and I would say that's okay too. Yeah.
But I will say, to add to that, I think this is true. All the saints that I have studied, they have like a real serious part of their life, their experience is Mary. And I think that has told me something, because there was a temptation as a new Catholic to be like, the Mary thing doesn't feel right all the time. I can't fully connect to it on a personal level. So I'm just going to let it alone. Which is okay. Like you say, you can do that. But I think the more I studied the lives of the saints and their devotions to Mary, and the more I just studied Mary, the more then I was able to have my own devotion. And I do think that's important because God is God masculine, the Father, the Holy Spirit, the spouse of Mary, Jesus, the Son of God. Mary's a woman. And I think we are made for that relationship as we are made for our relationship with God the Father. And not saying that Mary is God, of course. Mary's not God. She's a creation of God. But she has this very special role to play in salvation history and, of course, for all Christians. So I do think wrestling with the relationship with Mary, I think is healthy. If you're not there yet, you're struggling, keep wrestling because it will pay off.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you for watching this clip. You can click here to watch the full episode. And I want to say a big thanks to our sponsors and to our amazing patrons for making all of this possible. Please do us a favor before you go. Click that subscribe button and then the bell. And that way YouTube will be forced to let you know every time we put out a new episode.